Today we're diving into a story that has shaken an entire nation, stunned global markets, and sent shockwaves across every corner of the digital world. The title says it all. Russia collapses, panic hits the banks, and Vladimir Putin cuts the internet nationwide. What's happening, why it's happening, and why the whole world is paying attention. Let's break it down step by step. The situation didn't explode all at once. It started with small tremors. Whispers online, unusual movements in financial markets, strange restrictions on major Russian websites. People noticed their banking apps slowing down. Transfers began taking unusually long. ATM lines got longer every morning. It felt like something was brewing beneath the surface, and then overnight, everything changed. Russian citizens woke up to find their internet barely functioning or completely blocked. Popular platforms were gone, messaging apps weren't loading, websites wouldn't open, the digital doors had been slammed shut, and in a country where millions depend on online services for everything, from banking to business, this was like pulling the plug on national life support. The panic began instantly. People rushed to physical banks hoping to withdraw cash. Crowds formed outside ATMs. Some machines became empty within hours. Social media, especially through VPNs and backdoor channels, filled with videos of huge lines, arguments, and security forces trying to control the rush. A sense of fear began to spread. A fear that the government was hiding something big, and that something was the economic collapse that had been quietly unfolding behind closed doors. For months, Russia had been struggling under the weight of sanctions, falling oil revenues, war expenses, and a shrinking economy. The ruble was weakening faster than ever before. Foreign reserves were draining. Big companies were pulling out. The government kept insisting everything was under control, but the numbers told an entirely different story. When the banking system finally began to buckle, the Kremlin acted the only way it knew how: lock everything down. Cutting the internet wasn't a technical glitch or a minor restriction, it was a nationwide digital blackout. A deliberate shutdown meant to control communication, slow panic, and prevent people from seeing just how serious things had become. But instead of calming the situation, it triggered the exact opposite. People started fearing the worst. Rumors spread that banks would freeze accounts. Others claimed the government might seize foreign currency savings. Some even believed the ruble would be replaced with a new emergency currency. Without internet access, people had no way to verify anything. Every rumor felt like truth. International markets reacted just as violently. Currency traders dumped the ruble. Investors fled Russian assets. European and Asian markets shook. Oil prices fluctuated wildly. It was like watching a financial earthquake ripple outward from the epicenter. Meanwhile, inside Russia, the fear was turning into frustration. Small businesses relying on online payments couldn't operate. Delivery services stopped. Online shopping collapsed. The digital infrastructure that modern society depends on simply vanished. People were left clinging to cash, but with banks under pressure and ATMs running dry, even that safety net was shrinking. And then came the political pressure. Critics of the government, both inside and outside Russia, accused Putin of deliberately hiding the scale of the crisis. They said the internet blackout was a desperate attempt to silence unrest. They argued that the financial collapse wasn't a surprise at all, but the result of years of mismanagement, corruption, and isolation. But supporters of the government gave a completely different explanation. They claimed the shutdown was a defensive move, that foreign cyber attacks were targeting Russia's financial systems, that Western nations were trying to destabilize the country. They said the government had no choice but to protect critical infrastructure from digital warfare. The truth is probably a mix of both fear and control. When a government shuts down the internet during a crisis, it almost always means one thing: things are worse than they are willing to admit. Cutting communication is a last resort, something you do only when you expect things to spiral out of control and you want to slow the spiral down. And for ordinary people, that's what makes this situation so terrifying. Imagine checking your bank balance and the app won't load. Imagine trying to message your family and nothing sends. Imagine hearing loud arguments outside your window because the ATM around the corner just ran out of cash. Imagine not knowing if the next day will be better or far worse. That's the reality millions of Russians are facing right now. The government's next steps will decide everything. They may impose capital controls, limiting how much money people can withdraw. They may freeze foreign currency accounts. They may even nationalize banks or force them to merge. These are the kinds of extreme measures used only in economic emergencies, and the emergency is already here. As panic grows, some Russians are trying to leave the country. Long lines have been reported at several borders. Hotels near border checkpoints are full. People are scrambling for flights, but with the internet down, booking anything is almost impossible. Travel agencies are overwhelmed. The sense of desperation grows by the hour. The global community is responding, but cautiously. Governments are issuing travel alerts. Banks are assessing their exposure. Analysts are warning that a collapse of Russia's financial system could ripple outward, affecting energy markets, global supply chains, and geopolitical stability. This isn't just Russia's problem anymore. It's potentially everyone's problem. And most unpredictable piece of all is Vladimir Putin himself. Cutting the internet nationwide is a sign he's not willing to lose control. It suggests the government is preparing for unrest, maybe even expecting it. He may deploy more security forces. He may announce emergency powers. He may blame foreign enemies. But none of these actions change the core issue. Trust in the system is collapsing. Once people lose confidence in their banks, their currency, and their government, recovery becomes incredibly difficult. Economic collapse isn't just about numbers. It's about emotion. Fear spreads faster than inflation. Panic withdraws money faster than any policy can replace it. And once trust is broken, it takes years to rebuild. Right now, Russia stands at a breaking point. Millions of citizens are caught between fear and confusion. The world watches closely, unsure of what comes next. Markets are trembling. Analysts are warning that this could become one of the largest economic collapses in modern history. And with the internet blackout still in effect, the situation on the ground remains a mystery to everyone outside the borders. The next few days will decide everything. Will the government restore the internet? Will banks stabilize? Will people calm down? Or will the panic continue to grow, pushing Russia deeper into crisis? No one knows for sure, but what is clear is that this moment will go down in history as one of the most dramatic turning points the country has ever faced. And as we watch events unfold, one thing becomes undeniable. The digital age has changed the way nations collapse. It's no longer just about failing banks or unstable governments. It's about the flow of information, the panic that spreads through a disconnected population, and the struggle to control a crisis when technology becomes both a weapon and a weakness. This story is still developing, and the world is watching hour by hour. If the internet remains shut off, if banks remain unstable, and if the government remains silent, the pressure will only rise. For now, we can only hope for stability, for transparency, and for the safety of the millions of people caught in the middle of this unfolding disaster. And with that, thank you for staying with me through this intense breakdown. The world is changing fast, and moments like these remind us just how fragile modern systems can be. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay connected to what matters. I'll be here to follow every update as this crisis continues to unfold. Until next time, take care and stay strong.